What's going on, guys, and welcome back to my SmackDown audio review. I am Graham G.S. Matthews here today breaking down the March 10th, 2023 edition of Friday Night SmackDown. Hope you guys are doing well, having a great weekend so far. It was an interesting circumstance this week where the blue brand was actually weaker than the red brand on Monday. Raw is typically the more boring show of the two each week. SmackDown tends to be stronger, more exciting, more newsworthy, specifically with the Bloodline stuff playing out on Fridays, largely compared to Mondays. That wasn't the case this week. We got a lot of Bloodline progression on Monday. No Roman Reigns in either show this week, which was weird because I could have sworn the biggest question coming into the show was where would Jey Uso's allegiance lie? Roman Reigns needed an answer by last night, by this episode of SmackDown. I thought he would be in the flesh, in the building, demanding an answer from Jey. Obviously, we got the answer from Jey on Raw on Monday when he realigned with Jey Uso and took out Sami Zayn before Cody Rhodes made the save. Not Kevin Owens. They're still, holding out on that, which is great, because that eventual moment of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn coming together is going to be awesome. I like that they've kind of spread the love a little bit between Raw and SmackDown with the Bloodline stuff and whatnot. We got a lot of that on Raw this week, not so much on SmackDown. There was no Roman Reigns on the show. Again, I thought he would be on the show. Even after Jey Uso made his intentions clear on Monday's Raw, I still thought Roman would be on the show. He was not. Not that he was necessarily needed, but the advertising of the episode, to me, made me believe that he would be on the show. Because he was even in the fucking graphic that WWE tweeted out earlier in the day on Friday. It was a graphic of him and Jey Uso. I'm thinking, okay, he'll confront Jey, approving of his actions. The interesting thing was that Jey Uso, in the explanation of his actions on this show later on in the night, towards the end, he made no mention of Roman Reigns. The only reason why, he didn't say this word for word, but basically what he was implying was the reason why he did what he did on Raw really was to save his own brother. Because remember a week ago on SmackDown, Roman told Jimmy, listen, if Jey Uso doesn't pick a side and isn't here to kind of reveal where his allegiance lies, like I said earlier, then you're going to have to pay the price for it. The consequences are going to fall on you. And only at that point did Jey Uso align with his brother, his blood, not Roman Reigns, who is also his blood, obviously, as well, but that's his cousin. That's supposed to be his leader. Roman's treated him very poorly. Jimmy has done nothing of the sort. Jimmy has done nothing to really earn and face the wrath of Roman Reigns. So I thought that was really interesting. I thought that was great storytelling. But again, the biggest disappointment for me of this episode, not that we didn't really get any major implications or progression of significant storylines. We got some stuff furthered, which was good. No Bray Wyatt shit this week, which it's sad we're at a point where I'm actually happy about the fact that Bray Wyatt was not on the show, because that shit would have been fucking awful. I guess there was a QR code that led you to a video. I saw it on Twitter. I haven't seen a lot of people talking about it. I didn't watch the show live this week. I watched it after the fact, but even some 12 hours later, I'm still not seeing many people talking about it on social media. So I guess that shit's kind of run its course. But anyway, I thought it was a decent show, but I was disappointed by the lack of Roman Reigns. And it just wasn't a great show. I thought it was decent. We had one really newsworthy segment, the reveal of the first inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2023, which we will get into momentarily. But other than that, kind of a ho-hum show this week. So we started the show with a fatal 5-way match with the winner earning an opportunity to compete against Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 39. We had Sheamus in there, Drew McIntyre, LA Knight, Xavier Woods filling in for Kofi Kingston, and Karrion Kross. So Kofi was initially announced for the match a week ago. He got hurt in that segment. It was reported, then confirmed by Kofi himself. Kofi taken out of the match, replaced by Woods. And Woods made a great point on Twitter. He forgot about one match that he had. He eventually amended the tweet and added in the thread, oh, this was when I got my title shot. But he made a great point on Twitter. Only at one time in his career has he ever gotten a shot at a singles championship in WWE. He's a multi-time tag team champion over 10 times, blah, blah, blah. He has not been a singles champion yet. I don't even think he was 24/7 champion, but even if he was, that doesn't count. He has only gotten one singles championship opportunity. And he has beaten world champions before. He made that point very clear in the tweet. And he has. He's right. He beat Bobby Lashley literally by fucking pinfall, and Bobby was the WWE champion. Did he win that Hell in a Cell match? I don't think he did. Or maybe he did. I think he fucking won that match. I don't remember. But he beat Bobby Lashley. I think it must have been before Money in the Bank, but at some point he beat him. He fucking pinned the guy. And then he also beat Roman Reigns that same fucking year in 2021 when Roman Reigns still on the run of his career. He beat Roman Reigns on SmackDown by DQ. Now, didn't pin Roman Reigns, but he did hand Roman Reigns his first singles loss of any kind, and the only loss he's had so far, other than being against Seth Rollins. And he beat him when he was King of the Ring. So he's got some pretty notable accomplishments on his record, former King of the Ring winner as well. He did challenge John Cena for the United... I think I said this last week. He did challenge John Cena for the United States Championship. I think it was in my SmackDown Lowdown review last week, but he challenged Cena for the U.S. title on Raw back in 2015. I think October of that year. Beyond that, he has not done much of anything else singles-wise. He was not going to win this match. It didn't even really matter that Kofi wasn't in there. Kofi probably missing Mania. He should be out for close to 5 weeks. Mania is in less than a month, so he'll just miss it. That's a bummer, but I don't think he would even be on the card anyway. I'm not really sure what other spot makes sense for the New Day to be in on that show. But anyway, I thought this was an entertaining 5-way. All 5 men working well together, each man getting a chance to shine. I thought it was a good match. It had the expected and necessary finish of both Sheamus and Drew pinning opponents at the exact same time. We said it last week, and that's exactly what happened. Sheamus pinned Woods, Drew pinned LA Knight, and they were both technically declared the winner. Now, we didn't really get a decisive finish in that moment. Adam, I'm looking at LA Knight's name in my review here. Adam Pearce declared later on in the show that next week on SmackDown, it's going to be a number 1 contenders match, singles match this time, between Sheamus and Drew, winner getting the shot at Gunther at WrestleMania. So here's my thing. I thought this was a good match. It had the necessary finish. If they are going to a triple threat, which they fucking... I mean, honestly, regardless of where they go with this, it's a slight nitpick, but it's a waste of time. If they have one or the other beat that person next week on the show, so let's say they have Sheamus beat Drew, or more likely Drew beat Sheamus. If it was going to come down to one or the other, Drew would probably get the shot, let's be honest. Then why not just do that match to begin with? Why not just do Sheamus and Drew for the number 1 contendership? Throwing in LA Knight, who hasn't won in a while, Xavier fucking Woods, and Karrion Kross, who hasn't really won beyond beating Rey Mysterio a couple of weeks ago, was kind of unnecessary. If they were going to do that, then just do the singles match one-on-one. If you're still headed for the triple threat, which it looks like they are, then why not just make it official here? We're getting the triple threat match at WrestleMania. Why then go through Sheamus and Drew next week on SmackDown? It just delays the announcement by a week. It kind of takes away from the build of getting Gunther in there with Sheamus and Drew in whatever capacity. They're kind of dragging this out for no reason when it could just be made official. And it should be a triple threat. I've said that many times here on this very review channel, other places, whatever, in writing, podcasting, video. It's got to be Sheamus and Drew both getting the shot in a triple threat at WrestleMania. Could you do a scenario, as other people have pointed out, of one getting the shot on one night and the other getting the shot on the next night? Yeah, I just think the triple threat would cut down on the card a little bit, be the better option. You get Sheamus and Drew in there at the same time. They work amazingly well together, of course. I'm looking forward to that match next week, but I just think it's unnecessary. You could do that match closer to Mania anyway, even without anything on the line, but that's just me. But I think the triple threat is the way to go. Personally, I would have Sheamus win. Gunther, they keep mentioning, is the longest reigning champion, the Intercontinental Champion of the century, in like over 25 years, which is incredible. I don't think... It would be cool if he beat Honky Tonk Man's record, but he would have to hold the gold until like fucking September. That's like 6 months from now. He should be competing for the World Championship or championships by then, hopefully. And that would mean Sheamus would have to lose again. And Sheamus should be the one to beat Gunther for that championship. Would he really get 3 shots and lose every fucking time and then get a 4th shot in like 6 months from now? That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So I would have Sheamus win at WrestleMania. That's just me. But anyway, I thought this was a good match. I just question why dragging it out when, if it's heading for a triple threat, and it should, that is the match at Mania that they should do, why do the match next week between Sheamus and Drew one-on-one? So we then found out the inaugural inductee in the class of 2023 WWE Hall of Fame. Now, it was reported per PW Insider earlier in the day. I try to stay away from the official announcement because I had seen, first inductee revealed. And it wasn't from WWE. It was from PW Insider. And I'm like, okay, cool. If they're revealing it tonight on SmackDown, which is what I remember, honestly, back in the day. Maybe I just missed it. But like when I first started watching wrestling 15 years ago, I remember them taking their time with the Hall of Fame announcements and seeing a video package for each inductee being revealed on Raw. That was what I look forward to. It was around 2013 and beyond. Maybe they were doing it before then and I just don't remember. But starting in 2013 and beyond, they started giving it to various outlets, which for me benefits me. I mean, they've given Bleacher Report a lot of different scoops and stuff like that. Not me specifically, but I know people that have broken the Hall of Fame scoops for the WWE Hall of Fame in recent years, which is great for people, like me and the media, journalism, wrestling media people, whatever. That's awesome and all, but I would like it to be kept a surprise and see the video package play on the show as we saw on SmackDown. So anyway, I thought it was first of all weird, as I've said before, why the fuck they were waiting this long to announce anyone for the Hall of Fame. I know it doesn't matter as much like they used to do it in early January around the Royal Rumble because they needed to sell tickets for the Hall of Fame ceremony, but now it's not a standalone event anymore. If you buy tickets to SmackDown the night before Mania on that Friday, it's kind of basically WrestleMania Eve. They do the Hall of Fame that same night now. They probably wouldn't if Mania wasn't 2 nights, but that's what they do now. So as a result of that, and I think that started in 2020, I think that started last year. I don't know if it started 2021 and 2020, they didn't do it. 2019, I think, was its own thing because SmackDown was on Tuesday. So, yeah, it would have been its own thing on a Friday or a Saturday. But anyway, and they did the NXT show, I think, on Friday that year. I was at the NXT show. I didn't go to the Hall of Fame. But anyway, they don't really need to sell the tickets. They don't have the pressure of doing that because if you're in the area and you're going to SmackDown, you're going to stay for the Hall of Fame anyway. So they didn't feel pressure to announce anyone until fucking now. But again, that was the case last year as well, and they started announcing people like The Undertaker in mid-February. We're almost in mid-March, and we only found out the first inductee last night. That really surprised me. So I'm glad we found out, but it was not the Great Muta as was originally reported. I do think the Great Muta is going into the Hall of Fame, but their first inductee has got to be the headliner. I mean, sometimes it's not. Like, I think the first inductee announced in 2013 was Mick Foley. It ended up being Bruno Sammartino. So it's not always the headliner first, but traditionally that is the case. It was revealed to be none other than Rey Mysterio. So Rey Mysterio, as he should be going into the WWE Hall of Fame, took me by surprise just because he's still active on the roster. Undoubtedly deserving, obviously. Could open up the doors for people like John Cena to still go in, even if he's not retired yet, and people like that in the years to come. I thought it was random. But at the same time, though, it does make sense because he's in a big match at Mania, or will be against Dominik Mysterio, not officially, made official yet. But they're also going to be in his home state of California. So it would make sense for him to go in that weekend. I am very surprised it's not Batista, given the Hollywood tie-in. I don't know if he is going in. I wouldn't think so, because if he was, he probably would have been the first one announced. Maybe he's not. Maybe he is going in anyway, and they'll announce him later on. I assume that because they're in California, Rey Mysterio, as he probably should be, will be the headliner. I guess Batista's induction fell through, or they're saving it for a different day. I mean, Batista and Rey are very close. So if it came down to Batista and Rey, I could see Batista saying, listen, I'll hold off for another year or two, have Rey go in before me, have him headline, blah, blah, blah. I could certainly see that being the case. I just thought it was weird he wasn't announced first. But anyway, the Rey Mysterio thing was cool. Dominic interrupting with the rest of Judgment Day. Judgment Day ended up beating Legado del Fantasma. 6-man tag team match here. Good stuff. It was a lot here in a very, it was an elongated segment. I'm kind of dumbing it down and giving you the Spark Notes version. But, Dominic saying that he wished that Eddie was his real father and stuff like that, I thought was great. Dominic becoming increasingly more comfortable on the mic, which is awesome. I enjoyed the exchange between Rey and Dominic before and after the match. The match was well wrestled. Legado losing, which made sense. Judgment Day is the hot ticket right now. Legado as babyfaces I like. I've said this before, but eventually turning them on Rey would be great. But for now, I think they'll really benefit as babyfaces aligned with Rey Mysterio. But before and after the Rey Mysterio and Dominic exchanges really carrying the segment, they did not make the match official. I thought this would be the week that Rey would finally snap on his son and hit him. He did not. He reiterated, I'm not going to fight you regardless of what you do. That then begs the question, we'll probably get the match made official next week. Rey will finally hit Dominic and we'll get the match made official because Mania's in fucking 3 weeks from today. Mania's in 3 weeks. I'm pretty sure, right? Because today is the 11th. Next week is the 18th. Then the 25th. Yeah, Mania's in 3 weeks from today. So they have to make the match official. We all know we're getting it. That then begs the question, what will Dominic do next week to force Rey to accept this invitation and, do the match at Mania? Like, how far is he going to have to go? Like, threaten the mother? He mentioned Eddie here, and that wasn't enough. So what will push Rey over the edge is the question. But I thought this was good stuff per usual. The Viking Raiders took on Ricochet and Braun Strowman in a good match. Kind of a nothing match. The crowd didn't really care, which is fine. There really wasn't a reason for it. I know they set it up a week or two ago after the Ricochet and Braun 6-man tag team loss against Imperium, and the Viking Raiders attacked him, or they made the save for Drew and Sheamus, or whatever it was. So there was a reason for the match, I guess, but the Viking Raiders are just kind of a flat act as heels. I enjoy them. This was a necessary win for them. It was just kind of there. It felt like filler, honestly, and none of these guys are going to make Mania this year. So I would assume if they do an Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and that's not even a guarantee, but if they do it, and they do it on SmackDown on the night before Mania, as they have in years past, I can see all four of these guys being in that match, and they're probably just feuding for now to keep them busy. So that's really all this was. Charlotte wanted the match on the show. She asked Adam Pearce for a match. He obliged, gave her a match, ended up being against Shotzi. This was not very good. And I like Shotzi a lot, but it's gotten to a point where it's pretty evident she's not that great in the ring. I don't know if she needed more time in NXT, because she had time in the Indies as well. She's been wrestling for several years. I mean, she was supposed to be on Tough Enough in 2015. She spent some time in Impact and other companies and stuff like that. She's not having the most clean matches. I mean, she's better off as a babyface for sure, but she's had some pretty messy matches with Charlotte, with Ronda Rousey, Sasha Banks, multiple established personalities, and they just haven't been great so far. So I'm not really sure what it's going to take for her to have that standout showing, but she really hasn't had it yet. She had a couple standout showings in NXT, but again, I don't know if it was the timing of the call-up, or I can't even say who they're putting her in the ring with, because she's had several matches, and none of them have really been overly great at all. So I don't know what's going on there. But she lost here after like an 8-minute match. It was a decent match. Charlotte is a babyface, still very uninteresting. And she won clean, and that was it. So Shotzi, I guess the idea was that she was supposed to gain something in defeat. Honestly, to me, this just kind of came off as filler. They just did the match to kill television time, and that was it. Really didn't serve much of a purpose and wasn't that good of a match to really benefit Shotzi. The match was just kind of there. So then we finally got a face-off in some exchange on the mic afterward from Charlotte and Rhea Ripley, who was already in the show with the rest of Judgment Day. So they spoke very briefly back and forth. This was, I can't even say a lot of nothing because there really wasn't a lot there. It was nothing. I mean, they had a brief exchange, and Charlotte, speaking not out of character, I mean, she is a way better heel on the mic than she is a babyface when she's a babyface, but I don't know, she was just saying, and she kind of spoke in a normal tone. Rhea Ripley kind of sounded like, as great as Rhea is, her promos can sound very WWE superstar over-the-top-ish, where she's like, I'm, just speaking in character. Charlotte sounded more down-to-earth. I kind of like those promos more. And she was just saying, listen, you're Rhea Bloody Ripley, you've run through everyone that you've ever faced, except for me. I'll see you at Mania. So it was short, sweet, straight to the point. There wasn't anything there, though. And a lot like with Bianca and Asuka, they just haven't done anything with either women's championship match in Mania to make me care. I mean, I'm looking forward to Charlotte and Rhea. I care about that match more because there's a built-in story there. But they have to expand on that story. They have to revisit those key plot points for anyone not watching a couple of years ago. Expand on that, elaborate, and Rhea's really got to say, listen, you fucking ruined my career. You beat me at Mania. You think you're hot shit. You come over to my brand, take my title, and I haven't been the same since. I mean, they really have to dig deep on this. Just going on the surface level shit with like, oh, I'm better than you, isn't enough. I mean, the match will deliver regardless, same with Bianca and Asuka, but they really got to dig deep on this and give people more of a reason to care. The builds for both matches so far have been fucking lazy. And it's not just the women's matches. I mean, some other matches in the card are pretty fucking lazy as far as the build goes. This Mania build has not been overly great so far. They need to do more to really get people invested in this story. So far, they haven't been successful. And this latest attempt was not successful either. It was just kind of there. It was just an exchange and nothing more. So we get to the main event segment. Like I said earlier, I already kind of elaborated and discussed this, but Jey Uso explaining his actions from Monday, explaining that his brother is his blood, and why would he ever turn against his brother in favor of Sami and whatever. Jey's awesome. Jey's fucking great. Jey Uso playing his role really, really well here as well. And like I said, Jey choosing his brother because Roman threatened his actions on Jimmy for something Jey did. So he was really just saving his brother's ass. He didn't say that he falls in line, oh, we the ones, because the bloodline's great and whatever. No, he just really aligned with his brother, and that was it. Said nothing about Solo, Paul, anyone but his brother. So I thought that was good. Sami Zayn, or rather Cody Rhodes came out and attempted to go after the Usos. He kept his promo very brief. And then he was, outnumbered before Sami Zayn made the save. So kind of paying Cody back for what happened on Raw. After Cody made the save for Sami on Raw, Sami made the save for Cody here, so I like that. No major storyline progression, but this kind of establishes an alliance between Sami and Cody, which makes sense after their interaction on Raw about a month ago. They both need to be a united front against the Bloodline going into Mania. And they need one more person on their squad, at least one more, and that's going to be Kevin Owens. They're only going to be able to defeat the Bloodline if they're a united front. If they're not, then they fail. So I like where they're going with this. This wasn't a major angle, not nearly as big as what we got on Monday. But I enjoyed it for what it was. We needed the segment to kind of progress the story along, and that was it. So in a nutshell, SmackDown, not a great show this week. I thought the Rey Mysterio induction news was very well deserving. I mean, look at that guy's career, and he's a fucking legend. What more can be said? I mean, Rey Mysterio, amazing for him. Beyond that, I mean, we got some good matches on the show. Like I said, I thought the opening 5-way was entertaining. I like Legado versus Judgment Day. Charlotte and Shotzi was Viking Raiders against Ricochet and Strowman was solid. It was a solid show, just not overly interesting. And like I said, I thought Raw was a much better show this week. Raw just had more energy and had more... I don't think any Mania matches were made official on the show at all. We got like 2 or 3 announcements on Raw. We had none on this show. Dominic and Rey is still up in the air, as is the Intercontinental Championship match. They kept you on a cliffhanger until next week. I would have at least made that official, and they didn't even do that. So, not the strongest effort from SmackDown this week, but still a solid show. Setting up next week, like I said, Sheamus and Drew with the winner earning an Intercontinental Championship opportunity to WrestleMania. And I think that was all they advertised for that show next week. So we'll see what else they add in the next week. But that was SmackDown in a nutshell from March 10th, 2023. Thank you guys for checking out my review. I appreciate it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content, including some 2K news on the 2K22 front and 2K23 front as well. So that's going to be coming extremely soon. I might do a separate announcement video talking about what the future holds for GM, or GSM for GM rather, that video series I've been doing for the last 25 weeks. News on that coming soon, among other stuff here on the channel. Interviews, my Kane interview dropped yesterday, #AskGSM the other day, Wrestle Rant Radio excerpts, live reactions from these shows I'm going to. I will be at Raw on Monday in Providence, so my live reactions from that show, if I film any, will be on the channel soon after as well. So no better time than now to subscribe, hit the bell button as well to be notified every time a new video goes up. Have an awesome one, guys. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.